Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Welcome to Kansas City Profiles presented by Easton Roofing. The Stolen Winnebagos are quite a Kansas City enterprise, a band that has been popular in the city for almost 15 years now. They have entertained people at venues ranging from dive bars to amphitheaters. And as they describe themselves over the years, they've tried to differentiate themselves from the typical cover band experience by playing songs not normally done by cover bands, yet remaining upbeat and fun. Their diverse catalog includes a wide variety of songs from the 1950s until today. They have increased in popularity, and Colby Gile, who we'll talk to in a minute or two from now, the bass player and one of the three members of the trio, another unique aspect of the band to create the sound they do with just three members, has always thought that maybe it wouldn't last this long. But people continue to be wildly entertained by the Stolen Winnebagos in venues all around Kansas City as they continue to bring fun to bars, to weddings, to all kinds of different venues, and do it with their own personal twist on familiar tunes to have people dancing and rocking night after night. Colby Gile, our Kansas City Profiles conversation for today, talking about his musical journey and the Stolen Winnebagos. That comes your way next. Looking for a truly unique escape from your normal entertainment or corporate team-building regimen? Stay tuned for an exclusive offer only for Reasonably Irreverent listeners. I'm excited to tell you about an extraordinary destination, the Exit Room, located in the heart of beautiful downtown Lee Summit. The Exit Room is a distinctive entertainment option that offers a cool alternative to the normal couples night out, family get-togethers, and corporate team-building events. The Exit Room is a one-of-a-kind boutique escape room catering to special occasions and corporate team-building events and is unmatched in the Kansas City metro. With 5 individually designed and varied escape room adventures, your party or employees can unplug from their electronic world, interact with one another, match wits, and ultimately escape the humdrum of the ordinary. The Exit Room adventures cross decades and centuries and create fascinating fun. I know the owners well. They are local folks, their staff is warm and friendly, their lobby is inviting and beautiful, and their adventures are award-winning. Check online. There are over 1,000 reviews, and note that they are a rare 5-star ranked business. Visit their website and Facebook page, and any of my listeners who books online at theexitroomkc.com using the promo code Clinkscale19 gets 10% off any ticket purchase. The Exit Room in Lee Summit. Unplug, interact, and escape. Sumner One is the company to make your office maximize efficiency. Their family of companies make up one of the largest independent dealers of office technology in the Midwest. They are proud to bring the best service and technology to top companies across the region. Sumner One can help your organization run more smoothly than ever. Sumner One printers, copiers, MFPs, managed print services, document management, infrastructure design, IT services, disaster recovery, and business continuity. Welcome to the one place where everything works. For more information, call Carl Little at 913-752-2256. Are you thinking of starting a new business? Does your current business feel stuck? Or are you just trying to grow what you already have? Running a business is a lot of work, and it takes the right team to make it all happen. If you're looking to grow your business, call my friends Ben and Greg over at Fuego Consulting. They put together a company that can help you reach your business goals. Whether you're looking to get online, build a social media strategy, or rebrand your business, they can help. Call Fuego at 816-663-9695 or visit them online at fuegoconsulting.com. Fuego Consulting. Let's grow your business together. Colby, let's start off, not at the beginning. You don't know much about that part, but what was it like being little Colby Gile, 5-6 years old?
Little Colby Gile was pretty nice, actually. I was surrounded by music, loving parents, a much older brother, 6 years, who was surprisingly kind to me. So that was pretty standard.
Was it a brother that much older than you? Was he more of a protector, father, not father figure, but real big brother? Sometimes if brothers are a little closer, there might be more rivalry or whatever. Yeah, we had our phases. There's definitely ages where he was cooler and I was more annoying, and we needed our space. But for the most part, he was always loving, protector, and it was very rare that he was, forced to hang out with me, if you will. Like
there was definitely some times when I was, the age where you ask way too many questions, and
Right.
he's like, "Leave me alone." so yeah. Other than that, he was always the older mentor, protector, and yeah.
You said you're surrounded by a loving family, and your parents were together and still together, and
Yep.
just retired and headed off, not in a Winnebago, but in a trailer.
Wouldn't that be perfect?
Yes, it would be perfect.
I will say they won't wear our Stolen Winnebagos sticker on their campers for obvious reasons.
What did your dad do?
He was a chief engineer at Faultless Linen for pretty much his entire professional career.
And was he providing for his family in a way that he was happy with? Was he happy with his work? Was he?
Yeah, it was a lot of give and take. It was a hard job, took a lot out of him, a lot of time, but he had a lot of pride in it, and I think that's why retirement was so late. But yeah, he worked really, really hard, and and he provided very well for the family.
How about your mom?
She had a few different things. In the early days, her and her two sisters had a flower shop called Sisters 3, and it wasn't a whole lot of income, but just kind of love sister work kind of stuff.
Right.
And then after that, she was actually a lunch lady for the DeSoto school system, and she was there for, I believe, my memory is not so great, but I think she was there for 20 years, maybe a little less.
You said you were surrounded by music. Were your parents music lovers, or what kind of music did they like?
Absolutely, yeah. In fact, it's radio, so you can't see, but those humongous speakers behind me there were theirs, and my dad played a little mandolin, and all their friends were into music. Sorry, we have a dog here.
Yes.
Our mailman was Dan Dorn.
Okay.
Legendary locally, and my neighbor was Paul Muma, who was in River Rock and among other things. So, come here, Bella.
We're going to have fun with Bella
Yeah,
today.
I'm sorry.
It's this little sidebar for today's
Exactly.
interview. A loving dog.
A little invisible gaff.
He's laying down now, but let's hope
We'll
it stays
see
that
how
way.
this- yeah. So yeah, my parents themselves weren't much of players, but just incredible lovers of music, and music was always around. And in my opinion, I think they listened to fantastic music. Allman Brothers, Pink Floyd, The Who, and then much more. So.
Were you interested in other things besides music as a young guy?
I was horrible at sports, so I kind of went full force into music. I definitely enjoyed the outdoors, bike riding, camping, all that kind of stuff, but was just never super coordinated with any sort of sports. And I was always fascinated by all kinds of stuff, but wouldn't consider myself a scholar. But I was absolutely drawn to music, and the second I started getting my hands on instruments, it's just all I wanted to do.
And when was that?
I would say I would bang on my dad's mandolins when I was infant to a little while, and then once he taught me a few things to strum, but I didn't get really serious to it with it till about like fourth grade-ish. I really wanted to play drums, but that's a lot of space, money, and noise real estate, so I went with bass. Aside from like school music, I started on viola and cello. Kind of learned a little bit to read music. I don't remember being very good at it, but once I got a bass, I was just locked in, and I loved it. Kept playing and playing.
Was there a bass player or bass players that were favorites of yours?
Well, at my age, most people say Les Claypool, and that was true for me. I remember seeing him late night on MTV doing what I'd never seen anybody do with a bass before. There were plenty of amazing bass players out there, but he was the one that caught my eye, and so I was really into that, and that's what got me going. But I quickly ventured off into other bass styles and that kind of stuff. But he was the one that I was like, wow, that's neat.
Most people think of bass as not the most glamorous instrument, that you're kind of keeping the beat and doing things like that, and that it's, I don't know, runs second. This is going to be a bad analogy.
No.
Second fiddle to guitar.
I absolutely wonder.
And what drew you, do you think, to the bass? That's
what I owe to Les Claypool and a lot of bassists my age. I will start by saying there is a shortage of bass players these days, so I encourage anybody who wants to be a professional musician, pick up a bass, because we're a dying breed. But like I said, in my era, Les Claypool was not your average bass player. I guess I should say of Primus. I don't know if I said Primus.
Right.
But, he definitely brought it to the forefront and was wacky, charismatic, playing it in different ways, and it was just I'd never seen that. And a lot of like I said, there's plenty of fantastic bass players beforehand, but for the most part, a lot of the best bass players out there were people who didn't get the guitar job, like
right.
Paul McCartney and all them, just like, no, we need a bass player, like, fine, kind of thing. So
I guess
I
so.
totally understand that.
Right.
So.
And also the stereotypical bass player kind of stands there. He's cool. And Les Claypool certainly didn't fit that particular build. So did that make it a little more cool per se?
Yeah, it was really interesting. And I like I said, as the mid 90s, early 90s, my brother was into Primus, and I kind of enjoyed them for their goofiness. But once I actually saw them playing, I actually saw the video. Jerry was a race car driver, and seeing them play and how they played their instruments, and the drummer as well. I was way into drums and his humongous drum kit and all that sort of stuff. I was just drawn to the musicality of it, and strangely enough, as I discussed before this, I'm a little nervous about it, but I'm kind of an introvert, so like being the spotlight guy was never my idea of what I wanted to do, but being an accomplished musician was, and seeing what he could do on the bass kind of drove me to get into it. When did you feel like you actually were kind of getting good at it? I've that's been a permanent battle. When I was younger, there was moments where I would struggle with it, and then I would think I was better than I was, and then but it always comes back to I was never as good as I wanted to be. So I till this day I'm a student learning. So
right.
But I don't know, there was a few times when I was learning. I was into Chili Peppers too, so I was learning to slap, and I thought I was okay at that, and I mean, I was probably okay for my age, but there was it wasn't until way later in my career that I started feeling like, okay, I'm pretty good at this.
What do you remember the first band you got together with?
Actually, I just got back in touch with a few of my friends. We were kind of a garage band. We didn't really have a name, but my friend Adam Campo and Ryan Hobart. Actually, probably around 95, 96, right after I started playing, we both, I think Adam got a guitar for Christmas, a Strat, and our drummer got a snare drum for school, and we would beat on a grate from a return register for a hi-hat,
right,
and just make a lot of noise. But that was my first band experience. But my first real band was the band Trim, which was a really neat experience for me because I was a freshman in high school, and I was still kind of considering myself the new kid because I moved in middle school, and they were all seniors and really popular and needed a bass player, and I was just in hog heaven. So I actually played my first show with them in I think it was like 99, and it was actually at a place called Topaz Cafe with the band Thulium, which is now Anything But Joey, and that bar and I have a lot of history because then it was Spivey's, which I did my first acoustic gigs, and then it's now Cronin's, which is just a great hangout for us. So sorry, long-winded version.
No,
of that.
That's perfect. That's what we're looking for here. By the way, there's various, some not so nice, some nice permutations of what Trim means.
Yeah.
do you have an explanation for where that name
actually
came?
I honestly, judging by the font of what they put on the CD, I think they just took it from the toenail clippers. There's a brand of toenail clippers
right.
where the T went across. I
Right.
honestly think there was no meaning behind it, but I couldn't say for sure.
Right.
I was just a freshman in the cool band.
So how long were you in the cool band?
That was pretty brief. It seemed like a long time at the time, high school time span. But I think we probably only did it for a year or two, because, like I said, they were seniors, and they I guess the guitar player and drummer were seniors, and the singer was a junior, and so there was kind of a period where they went to
Right.
like KU, so there was still some around, but then the singer joined the. Oh, I hope I don't get this. Well, I didn't say his name, so it doesn't matter. But he joined the Marines, and he's there for a long time. So that just kind of it's just impossible to continue, even if we wanted to.
What was it like to be kind of a serious musician, a guy who was in bands and things like that when you were in high school?
It was cool. The gigs were far and few in between, and there wasn't any money or anything like that, but it was enough to feel important and give me an extra drive, to be better, like a new aspect, because I could sit and play in my room for days and days, and I feel like I got that down. So now there's this whole new aspect of, I could play for people, in front of people, and so I have a video of that first show, and it's not pretty. I don't think I blinked. I probably didn't take my feet off the ground once. It was a scared child. So there's a whole other thing, again, the introvert aspect. So there was a lot to learn about being on stage or the corner, moving a pool table in the corner of a bar. Stage,
right, exactly.
Quote unquote.
Well, you moved right before you went to high school.
Mm-hmm.
Was that somewhat traumatic, or?
It was. My parents were actually. It was very calculated, and it was a very nice gesture. And I actually have a lot of guilt for this because I know my dad really wanted to move to Utah and not retire, but do something different.
Right.
And I think me silently and my mom, who had moved and how traumatic it was, talked him into staying until at least I graduated. And so it worked out pretty well that I was going from elementary school into middle school, and my brother was graduating. So that was in the same year, so he could finish out his stint in one place. And, I was changing to middle school is kind of a traumatic thing anyway, so it was definitely the best period for me to move. But yes, it was traumatic. I was kind of, being a musician, I had long hair. I was kind of starting to fit in, and people knew me, and it was like I wasn't the cool kid, but I had a place. Then when I moved, I was a 12-year-old or whatever, a 13-year-old with long hair who completely looked like a girl in a new situation, knew I didn't know anybody, and it was, I was very not anywhere near the cool kid.
So you moved from Prairie Village to Shawnee, where we're sitting right now.
Yep,
and
which strangely enough was the DeSoto school district. But,
okay.
Yeah, so we were kind of west side.
Okay.
So, yeah. So new school district.
Right. And when you're in a band and you're a musician and you're not an athlete, you're not a jock, is that even more of a difficult thing for high school?
Yeah. It had its trade. I don't think either me doing sports or being a musician mattered because I was just kind of an awkward kid.
Right.
So I think later on the musician aspect helped. But I think I could have been an accomplished athlete or, band geek or whatever it would be, and I think I would have been in the same boat.
You would have felt the same way.
Yeah.
You felt. So do you
It
feel
was
like
tough.
being an outsider?
I do and I don't. It's strange. It depends on the situation. Sometimes I feel like I fit in, like, as I was the kind of kid that I didn't grasp any clique, like,
Right.
but I kind of wanted to just be friends with everybody, but I was not good friends with anybody,
Right.
Kind of come and go. I had a few good friends, but like, I'd be the kid at lunch that would sit at a different table every day if they would let me.
Right, exactly. So this has become a thing, and when did you realize that it was going to be a thing for you, or the thing?
I feel like I always wanted to do something big with it, but I never really fully grasped, like, I was never the kid like, I'm gonna get famous. Like, I think part of me kind of hoped I did, because I as a kid I didn't feel like I had a drive for anything else. Like, I didn't know, like, well, I guess am I gonna go into construction, or am I, like, I have no idea what my future held. So part of me was like, I hope I get famous. I hope I could get paid to do it. But I'd never really set a plan until, like, towards the end of high school. I really wanted to get into recording and become an engineer, which thank goodness I did not, because that whole profession completely changed, going from analog to digital. Anybody can do anything on their, well, now anybody could record an album as good as I could have with all my gear on their cell phones. So I kind of dodged a bullet there, but that was the only idea I had of, I'm going to be professional with this. But I always knew I was just going to do it. I didn't know what capacity. I just loved it, and I knew it was like a video game to me. Like, I didn't want to go out or do certain things. Like I was totally happy by myself with my instruments and my recording gear.
When you were in that mindset, what kind of a student were you in high school?
I was okay at certain things. I definitely struggled. I'm with music, I feel at home, but I take a second to get things, and retention's not the best for me. So there was definitely some struggles, but I got by with moderate grades. But I was very fascinated in science, and I surprisingly did okay at math. I'm not sure why.
Right.
But yeah, most of it was just kind of getting through it.
When you were thinking about being a sound engineer and you were in bands and you knew that this is what you wanted to do, what was the thought of college for you?
I was actually looking at the Kansas City Community College because they actually had a really good program for that, and I pretty much all but enrolled. I had it kind of figured out what I wanted to do and all that. I can't remember exactly the course layout, but yeah, I was pretty much ready to do it, and that was right around the time that the Winnebagos were starting, and that just kind of fell in our lap. So when the Stolen Winnebagos started, there's a real long story behind that, which I'll leave you with that because it's all the guys that are in the Stolen Winnebagos, we played in different formats in original bands, very grueling, not many songs written, way too many practices, no successful shows. But we kind of kept trading instruments. I did finally become a drummer, and so I was playing drums in that band, and it just fell apart, and we'd get together and trade instruments, and it eventually wound up with the formula with me on bass and Casey on guitar and Jim on drums, and we'd cover a song or two, and it just kind of like, oh, that kind of feels fun, but still no plan to do anything with it. And we went to Jerry's Jam Night, and we were going to see a friend play, and we kind of looked like musicians. They're like, oh, you guys going to play tonight? And we're like, I guess. And so me and the band kind of disagree with how the story actually went down, but the way I remember it was they asked what our name was, and our friend Trevor Gorman had a bunch of names, like kind of name rejects, and we could have very well been, could you pour me a cup of Clark Griswold, or could you zip up my Falcor costume? But it wound up being the Stolen Winnebagos, and it was actually originally what became a Balky Bartolomé and the Stolen Winnebagos, and we just kind of wanted them to say something goofy, and they're like, whatever, the Stolen Winnebagos. And we went up and we played War Pigs, and I think we were there a few times, and somebody'd asked, like, oh, do you guys do weddings or this and that? And then, I think Jerry's was interested in booking us, and we're just like, oh, okay. So we locked ourselves in a rehearsal space and learned like 40, 50 songs as quickly as we could, and then just kind of started slowly booking gigs.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker, the president of Easton Roofing. And Joe, you worked for other companies in the construction industry. What inspired you to start your own company in Easton Roofing?
Well, Danny, when you are working for somebody else, you oftentimes don't get to see the project through from beginning to end, and you don't get the final control over the customer experience. And I wanted to build a place where people can come and get work done on their house and not have to worry about being treated the wrong way, and get a good customer service experience start to finish.
The company slogan is "Where Integrity Matters." Why is that so particularly important to you?
Well, for us, what that means is treating each other with respect at work, treating our clients with respect, and making the right choice, especially when no one's looking. So when you're presented all the time as a contractor with choices that have to be made, are you going to make more money on this if you cut a corner? And we just wanted to make a place and a slogan that said to our people and to whoever is our customer, we're not going to do that. We're going to make the right choice regardless of profit.
Easton Roofing, where integrity matters.
For many people, a family law case will be one of the most difficult experiences in their life. The law firm of Kenneth McRae will help you through it. Personal and effective help from Ken in concert with you will develop a unique strategy for your unique case. As Ken always says, divorce can be civil law, not civil war. Licensed in Kansas? Visit McRaeLawOffice.com or call 913-972-4765.
I was duped, and I recommend you be next. For better or worse, the ultra-realistic impression of me sits now in my wife's office to spook her on a daily basis. So what is Doob? D-O-O-B. It's the keepsake of a lifetime, a 3D-generated, incredibly lifelike figurine. 66 cameras take an image at exactly the same moment in any pose, and state-of-the-art 3D technology transforms that into exact replicas of you, anyone you know or love, a pet, whomever is close to your heart. Create lifetime memories with a Doob. Visit their Facebook page at Doob 3D Kansas City, or better yet, see their incredible creations. Visit their location down on the plaza in the heart of it at 231 West 47th Street in KC Mo. Doob, be next.
There's no need to get a case of the Mondays every week, not during football season anyway. Hey, this is Matt Llewellyn from the 23rd Street Brewery, and we are the place for Monday Night Football. Food and drink specials every week, and all new televisions always at 23rd Street Brewery. The hardest thing about Mondays now will be getting through the workday, although waking up on Tuesdays might be a little bit tough. But remember, watch all the Chiefs games, NFL games, every game at the 23rd Street Brewery.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
Colby Gile is our guest from Stolen Winnebagos, one of Kansas City's, if not Kansas City's preeminent cover band. I think that's safe to say. And one of the things you're known for is the fact that you all sing and that you kind of make the songs your own, even though they are covers, most of the things you do. Was that something you sought out to do, or is it just something that kind of developed?
You know, there's not a really good answer for that. When we started, we were young, fresh, and very excited. Like I said, we were happy. None of us were seriously dating anybody, and we're just so happy to just be in a room and learning stuff. And so we, I think it was just kind of by chance. Certain songs we took really seriously and tried to hone in as much as the original as we could, and some we just completely massacred in what we thought was a very fun way. And so I think some other people liked it. But yeah, we just kind of made a few of ours our own, and some of them just kind of wound up. I think it just kind of depended on how big of a fan we were of what we were covering, and also we were noisy. We like at that age we were trying to, especially as a three-piece, trying to make as much noise and play as many notes as we could. So I think a lot of the ones that didn't turn out like the original were just due to sheer ADD.
Was there, one of the things that is thought of your band as being unique is to be a cover band that can do so many things as a trio.
Yeah.
And was it ever a thought to be more than a trio? Well,
we started kind of as a four-piece with Trevor Gorman, who I was talking about, who's in Coldwater, also a great band. Check them out if you haven't. And in the grand scheme, that was pretty brief. I think it was only near a year that he's with us. But we kind of had different ideas in what songs we wanted to do at the time, and so we just kind of wound up a three-piece from there on out. We had many friends who had played keys here and there with us, and Dan Bergner and Mike Gray were awesome. But we just due to circumstance, honestly, with three people, it's so easy to book. There's only two people who go. We've got a perfect democracy. If there's any issue that two of us want more than the other, and splitting the money, I mean, it just kind of worked out that way. It wasn't our grand scheme to be a power trio. It just we're too cheap and lazy to find other members, and plus we play a lot of small stages, and we just kind of we like to spread out.
How did the success of the band develop?
Very, very gradually. And I'll be honest, I feel like every year I keep thinking like, well, this was probably the peak, and I've been feeling that way for about 10 years. Like, it's probably downhill from here, and it just keeps getting better. So I can't. I wish there was a secret to it, but we've just learned the songs that we want, and we keep an eye on the tempo of what makes people dance, and so we try to find this magical combination of songs that we don't hate and songs that we don't love, because I always tell people they're doing cover music, if you learn a song you love, you won't love it anymore. You take the magic out of it, you get sick of it. So that and songs that we can play, because none of us are, singers. We just choose songs that work best for our voice. So, and having one guitar, there's always one guitar song. So it's really, really hard to pick the songs, but I guess we picked the okay ones and we played them okay. I honestly, I don't know how it got any bigger, but it was very gradual. I listened to old recordings and thinking we were pretty good at the time, and I can't believe anybody was around to listen to it. So.
How almost all the time, I mean, the goal for any musician is to be a working musician and just a working musician. Yeah. How long did it take you to get to that point? I kind of went back and forth. I delivered pizzas for a while, because that's how stereotypical I am. A bass player delivers pizzas. But I was doing that when I started, and then money started coming in for gigs, and what really helped us out was Jerry's Bait Shop, which I kind of call that our womb. That's where the Bagos were birthed because of Jam Night, and then the manager there wanted somebody on Sundays, so we played there every Sunday, and then he opened up another place in Lee Summit, so we're there every Monday, and then we started getting occasional weekends, so then we're playing 3 nights a week at this point, and then we got a Thursday gig, so it was pretty quick. Within like the first 3 years, we started having pretty regular gigs, and we were all able to quit our day jobs and do that. So which I consider myself very lucky. Yeah, it is something that, and is that part of maybe continuing to decide that this is what you want to do, rather than maybe being a band that has quote unquote greater aspirations?
Yeah, like I said, I never had that idea of like being famous, and it honestly, like, you never know if that opportunity comes up what you'll do, but I would like to think I'd probably pass an opportunity. I'm happy to be home. I'm happy with the people I'm playing with. But yeah, it really fulfilled us, because it was really fun. When we started, it was, like I said, it was kind of chaotic. We just played everything we wanted, which would not work by today's say. If we were playing the set list today, we'd completely alienate our crowd. But it was just fun for us. We felt like we were doing things our way, and I still feel like, we are still doing it our way, but we've catered a few things to the crowds, but back then it was just absolutely fun, and we did do some original music and that kind of stuff throughout the years, but for the most part, we were all pretty fulfilled doing the Winnebagos.
Well, that's cool. Do you like doing things outside of I mean, obviously, do some acoustic stuff, and some stuff on your own.
Absolutely.
What's the balance like that for that, and the rewards, and how that works in the context of having a band?
It's great, because I've played with a bunch of people acoustically. Right now, I'm playing the most with Casey from the Winnebagos. But it's nice, because we, like I said, in the earlier days, it was pretty much all Winnebagos, and playing that, like, there was a time we were 5 nights a week with the Winnebagos, and then I started doing acoustic. there was a time where I was playing like almost every day of the week for a while. But when it's that much of the band, especially the longer we play, the more time we want to do other things. So having a couple acoustic gigs and a couple to a few Winnebago gigs during the week feels great, because it kind of refreshes. Even though we have a great job, we're in a different place every time, but it's always our gear and our group of songs, and luckily we've learned a lot, but there's definitely times it gets stale, so doing something else is great.
I mean, talk about the dynamics. It's a long time to be with two other guys in a band, and that says a lot about your relationships, but there have to be times when it's a little trying, aren't there?
Absolutely, yeah. But it's I gotta say, it's been really good. We've had our moments. I think for me personally, doing the original stuff would get the most tough, because it's so personal. Like cover music is just it's just us playing together. But when it comes to original stuff, it's personal, and these days there's not a lot of reward for it, which we've gotten used to with the Winnebagos. If you write an original record, and I'm saying this from a personal standpoint, because I have some friends that are just killing it with the original thing. Our friends Wonderfuzz, their 2 records they put out in this year, I'm just floored by. Absolutely love it. But for us, it's so much work, and I don't think any of us have the ego it takes to say, look at what I did, look at our stuff, and we keep talking about it over and over again because we have the drive to write, and then we do it, and then we don't know what to do with the product that we've made.
Right.
It's hard to get. We write stuff that's kind of intricate that needs more players, and it's hard to get the bands together and keep the members in this because it's always been us 3. So it's tough for us to find the drive to keep doing that. But with the Winnebagos, it's always autopilot. Just the 3 of us. Like I said, we've had our differences and we have our arguments, but again, the 3-piece works because I know the other guys. We got to have a lot of confidence in each other because we know that when somebody is annoyed with a member of the band, the other member of the band gets it. We argue, whoa, what does he think he's doing with the blah, blah, blah. And
Right.
we all know that we have our issues, but we talk about it, we vent, and if something actually really needs working out, we discuss it together as a band, and we're all, it's sensitive sometimes when somebody's got a complaint, you boo-hoo about it, and then you're like, yeah, they're right, I need to work on this. So we've always been able to do that and come back, and nothing's been heavy enough to split us up. So.
Do you each have maybe like 1 or 2 songs that you each hate but abide, that you kind of have to play?
We didn't until about a couple years ago. That's always been our rule, is that nobody should play anything that they don't like. But I will admit that every single one of those tunes, there's probably only a couple. We don't usually, if we don't like it, we don't let it hang around. But there's been a couple that we have done that I'm like, it just doesn't it's not that I don't like the song, I just don't feel like it's us. But at
Right.
the same time, we play everything. We're so eclectic that there shouldn't be anything that we wouldn't play. So there's been a couple of those, but excuse me, once we've learned them and played them, I find them fun to play. Like some of the songs I don't like to listen to are actually really fun to play. So that kind of balances that out.
How do you find that your audience changes? And obviously really good bands and popular bands have extremely dedicated fans who will go and see them over and over and over again, but to continue to succeed and evolve, you obviously always need new fans too.
Yeah.
How do you see the evolution of the crowds that you get?
That's another thing I wish I could explain, but I can't. I think we've got I think that we've been playing so many years, and we've played so many different places, and we play so many different kinds of music that I think we've made a fan base that's so vast that they don't. I'm not saying that in a braggy way, but it's just a lot of people that know of us come out every once in a while, and
Right.
it's enough of them that they're not worn out by us seeing us all
Right.
the time. There's quite a few that try to make it to all. Not all the shows, but quite a few of them. And I think one of the magical things is it's kind of like we're hosting a party. The way I look at it, music aside, I think people know at least a certain group of people that are going to be at our show, and it's like a hangout. Like, hey, let's go see our friends with the Winnebagos. It's just kind of just a little get-together kind of thing.
Do you often ever sit around and think about what's 10 years down the road or 6 years down the road?
All the time, because it scares the hell out of me. Because I know the equipment's not getting much lighter, and I'm not getting any younger, but and my voice isn't getting any better for sure. But like I said, I thought about that 10 years ago, and I thought that it was going to be over now, and it's better than it's ever been, hands down. And so I don't know. I think I just need to, relax and go with the flow. But I keep, a reasonable, demeanor about what the future may hold, because I will definitely need to do something. But I have a lot of friends who are in the production business, and I design our lights and stuff. So I figure I could be a light engineer or a sound guy, whatever may come. I think I would be covered. Our drummer Jim right now is actually inheriting a electronic repair business from Neil Preston. He's in the process of it right now, so he's covered. But he's kicking butt with that. He's amazing. He's repaired a bunch of my gear already.
Oh, that's a neat deal. Now,
Yeah.
Who the hell knows? There are musicians that are musicians and they're
Oh, yeah.
75, so
Yep.
It's very possible that
Yep.
that
A
could
lot-
be the case
oh,
too.
Man, a lot of my mentors and just people I look up to. My local musical heroes are still doing it and doing it well. So yeah, that kind of makes me feel relaxed. And actually, sometimes the KO Pectones, they're a great band, and I envy them. I love every song they play, and it's awesome. And they have an audience base that's just purely in love with music, and and we do too. We have a lot of fans, but a lot of times we can just be hosting a dance party. Sometimes we have people are there for the music. Sometimes people just want to boogie. So, but yeah, I have a lot less fear about the future than I did. So, but a lot of wonder.
What's the difference when you're doing a show in a club as opposed to a venue, as opposed to an event? Like a wedding or somebody's 50th birthday party, or
they all have their sort of magic and their tricks. I think that's another thing that we're doing right for us is we have a really good spread of all of them. We'll play a smoky dive bar one night, and then we'll play a beautiful gala, or fundraiser and or a wedding, and I feel like weddings for me I enjoy because they, it's a little more refined. Sometimes I get bumped into and chew on a microphone grill or have drinks spilled all over my equipment. A wedding, you don't get that. But that being said, it's an all-day thing. We're usually there, from noon till 1 in the morning sometimes, and it's a little bit of pressure there because you don't want to be the person who's responsible for wrecking the big day. So, as we usually do our drummer does a lot of MC work, and I'll run the iPad, and we dial up songs for dances, and so we kind of wind up being coordinators in a way with it. So, a lot more work involved with that. But then, like I said, clubs sometimes there's just a lot of drunk endeavors that you find yourself in. So, but that's also let your hair down, have a good time. So, so yeah, I love them both for different reasons, and I have my complaints about them for different reasons.
What's the business aspect of having a band that is successful, continues to be more successful? Then you're doing more gigs. Then you're saying you're doing 7 nights a week. How do you decide when, hey, we're really successful here, it's time for us to charge more?
Yeah.
What are those decisions like for you?
Yeah, that's definitely been a learning experience as well. I think, we used to, and this is mostly my fault. I think the other guys were kind of bummed at me. He's like, we need to aim higher. I was like, well, what if we don't get the gig, And we probably could have been shooting higher for a while. But yeah, you just kind of do what you think is fair. Is every gig requires a different number, and but yeah, we definitely realized that okay, it's time to up the pay and get going on that. But yeah, that's been a slow gradual process, and I think we're getting what we're worth, and I think people are getting what the value for what we're charging these days.
Is it ever a situation where somebody who you've been with or done gigs at for a long time will be like, well, I was there when you guys needed help, and you're like, well,
that's a great
fair
question.
Is fair, man.
Yeah, strangely enough, we're still playing Jerry's Bait Shop, and I won't discuss any money, but it's a vastly different price tag, and and it still works out for them. What we charge is worth what they're getting there, and the same for a lot of places, and a lot of there's been some venues that have come and gone because of that, but more for the situation. A lot of it more than the money. Our rig has grown. I mean, we used to just have peanuts for gear and no light show and all that, and now we have more and better equipment and a full light show that just kind of demands a certain amount of space. So a lot of those teeny tiny places, it wasn't necessarily about the money. It's just we want to put on the same caliber show at every place we play. If people expect to see us, I want them to get the full deal. So it's been more about where we're at, and I tell you, there's a lot of there's some venues that I got to give a big shout out to Daniel Bogart, who's manager at Barley's, who just built a stage, and he asked us, he's like, what do you think we need in here, and I gave a few small suggestions. He's like, how about we knock out this wall and build you a stage? And I'm like, absolutely, that sounds fantastic. So, and that's another one of those venues we've been playing for years, and the price has changed, and the quality of the place we get to perform has changed drastically.
Right. What do you seem to be very comfortable when we were arranging this interview. You said 2:00 is like first thing in the morning for me.
Yeah.
I've often in my career been a late night person too. Do you like that aspect of what you do?
I do. Like everything, there's some give and take with it, but I've always been kind of a night person. I love it, and I feel at home at night. But it does have its struggles. Me and my wife have a completely different sleep schedule, but we still get plenty of quality time and all that. But there's definitely some times. The reason I stay up so late is I'm usually home by 2 or 3, but I like to stay up an extra hour or two, just
wind down.
Yeah, exactly. And there's been gigs when I still had the day job, and I would do that. I'd go to bed directly when I get home. A lot of times coming home from the gig, I'm dozing off on the ride home, or that last set at the gig is pretty worthless, and I want to give it my all. So I like to have that last set still be part of my much awake time.
Right, exactly. We talked about this looking on down the road, but you seem, while I sit here, to be a very content person.
Absolutely.
Tell me about where you are in your life and your music. You feel like it's good times right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everybody's got their struggles and everything, but I consider myself very lucky and very happy with how things have gone and my situation. I love where I live. I love my friends. Love my wife. Love my band. I got this cute little dog I'm borrowing from my friend right here. Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, there's definitely times. I mean, all truth be told, there's been plenty of gigs where I get done and I'm just like, man, a cubicle would be absolutely fantastic. But that's pretty rare, and I'm smart enough to know that a week into that job, I'd be, what have I done? So yeah, I won't lie, doing what I love for a living has made it a job. So there's definitely a little bit of magic that's been borrowed for the profession. I don't sit up in my room and play as much as I'd like to or used to, but it's I still couldn't be happier.
This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like Easton Roofing, the presenting sponsor of Kansas City Profiles at the Danny Kling Scale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Kling Scale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new.